Hello, everyone. Welcome to the fifth part of our ASP.NET Core testing, unit testing. So, in this video, which is part 5, we are going to talk about mocking, right? So, what is mocking and how do you even perform mocking action in ASP.NET Core? So, by the end of the video, you'll be able to write any mocking in your unit testing. So we are going to use a library called FakeItEasy, which make it easy for us to do the mocking. So welcome to the video, and please, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell, so anytime we drop a new video, you'll receive a notification, right? So this is a series that we have been doing, right? And this is part 5. So we have been talking about what is unit test, how do we write a core unit test without any library and that. So if you are new to this series, then I'll put a link in the description for you to go and watch our previous video so that you understand how to create S-Unit project and what is testing and everything, right? But in this video specifically, we are going to talk about mocking. So mocking is a concept where we want to mimic a certain behavior, but we do not want to test, or touch or use the actual behavior. So in this case, you might have a certain functionality where we already know that unit testing, we are trying to test a certain component of our application, which is a certain function that we are expecting it to work in a certain way. So you write a test for it to work like how you want it, right? And the test also help when the code base grow and something break, your test is going to fail. It's going to tell you that something have changed, right? So testing is a must for you whenever you are writing your ASP.NET Core APIs or building your ASP.NET Core application. So mocking is trying to mimic something. So it's basically fake it, right? And it's not only FakeItEasy. There is a lot of library tools that you can use, but in this video we are using FakeItEasy, which I believe that is easy to write or set it up and everything. And we are doing just a basic test. As we move on to other series, we're going to do more advanced where we even move to integration test, right? So what I have right here is that I've already created ASP.NET Core, which is some kind of a CRUD API. And if you don't know how to create ASP.NET Core web API, I've already have videos in this YouTube channel where you can just go and then deep dive on how to create a web API. So this video is basically a testing, right? So we have already created a web API. So you can see that I have a controller here, which is help us to create a product, delete the product, update the product. And this is the functionality we want to test. And then you can see that I already have a service. So I have these services here, which we are using. So this is what we are using in the controller for the testing, right? So this is what we basically want to test, right? This is the functionality we want to test. And then we are using SQLite. So when you go to our program.cs, we have already configured SQLite to be our database so that we can create a product, we can delete the products and everything. And this is our module right here, just a simple name and description. That is what we are setting up in the database. So this is another the project, and we have the S-Unit project here, which we have created. And then when you go in there, what we are doing here is that we have installed FakeItEasy. It's very easy to install. So when you want to install FakeItEasy, you go to Nuggets right here, and then you search for first of all, we are using Fluent Accession. So you search for Fluent Accession, and then you search for FakeItEasy. This is one, and then you install that. This is the package we are using, a library that we are using to write our test. So that is the FakeItEasy. That is it. So we come here, we have the small test. Let's make it this name correct, right? So this is the product test, right? And this is what we're going to do. So right now, if you want to test for our functionality to see if our test is set up, we can go in here, run this test, and then let's see if everything is set up. So the test is passing, and this test we always expect it to pass because there's nothing inside. So the goal of mocking, as I said earlier on, is you trying to mimic a certain functionality or something, but it's not the actual one. So in this one, we have a service where the service talk to database. but we want to test the service. We don't want to touch the database. We don't want to write something that goes to the database in real time, but we want to fake it and say, hey, we have some fake database or we have some fake service that we, but it's testing the actual test itself, but it's faking it, right? Yeah. So it's trying to have something like a look-alike or something like that, right? Yeah. So to do that, we are using FakeItEasy. So we're going to clean this one up small. And what we're going to do is that we're going to bring the product service, and basically the interface is what we are interested in. So we're going to say private read only. And one thing that I've also done here is that I've added a project reference. So that is what we have been doing. You always have to add a project reference. So you have to add a project, make a reference to this test project, right? And that is what you are interested in. And so when you do that, you have access to the namespace here. So you can go ahead and bring the namespace here. So we have access to iProduct service, which is the interface from this. So we go to the here. This is why we have iProduct service, right? This is what we're going to use for the test itself. So let's go in here. So now we have access to it. And then FakeItEasy, we need to create some kind of a constructor, right, to mock the interface that is coming on, so that we have a fake version of the interface so that we can use for our test, right? Okay, so we're going to say that public and I'm going to say that product test here. So we're going to have the product product service test here, and then here we do this, and then we'll probably do some kind of this stuff here. So here we are going to say that, hey, we want to do some kind of fake. We want to create the instance of maybe this one or this, but we are using FakeItEasy, right? So how we do it is we're going to call this A, and then FakeItEasy will say that, hey, fake this product service, right? So let's import the FakeItEasy namespace right here. So we say use FakeItEasy. So just with this, that's why I said that I found FakeItEasy to be much easier and simpler when you are doing this mocking. So with this one line of code right here, it's trying to mock our interface for us. So anytime now we have the fake version of our interface that we can use to do our test. All right, so that is the mocking, and that is it. So with this one, we have a lot of test cases. It depends on who is looking into this code, and test cases are not something that you always are going to come up as a developer or as an engineer. You will look at your behavior or your code, and you know what you want, right? What you expect. So test cases are something that is kind of opinion stuff. So yeah, but some of them, like when they get all product, or when the product does not exist, and we already know from this series that whenever you are creating a test, you test the opposite side. So you're going to test the negative side and positive side. So when it goes right, what do we get? When there is an error or exception, when the exception comes in, what do you get in return to? Okay. So that I'm going to, when you go to this interface right here, you see the first method that we are doing is that get product, and this get product by ID, and get products also get all products. So first of all, we don't have some kind of, we are not using DTOs here. This is the normal, we are using the model itself to do this, right? So we're going to use that. Before we do that, we probably, before we create products and we get products, we have to make sure that we are creating a product. So to do that, because we are going to repeat this a lot, I'm going to create a private class here. So to do that, I can say this is going to be some kind of this in here, and I'm going to say that this is going to be private, kind of this private method, right? Because we are going to use one, and then say private product. So we're going to bring product here because we are not using any DTO. So we are using, and say create product. So this is going to be like we're creating a test product. So whenever we call this, we'll be able to create a product, right? So that we will not repeat ourselves. Okay. So this is it. Let's end the region here. So, okay. And then this is this. We don't have a price. So what we are interested in is that we are interested in description. So we are interested in description. And then here we want to, I don't want to sign this. I want to sign some kind of a default kind of and say that this is the name is test product, right? And then we're gonna do this, and we're gonna say that, hey, this is a test description. So this is sitting in there as a default one, and here we want to, the ID is supposed to be GUI, so we're going to call a new GUI ID self right here. And then when we come in here, we want to assign the description to the description, and let's fix the spellings here of description. So now whenever we call this, we are expecting to create a product, right? We expect to create a product. So the first test case that we want to do is that when we get the product by ID, right, we're going to use the FakeItEasy. We have already fake the interface, right? So now we're going to test the individual method in there, but with this mocking, we are not using the actual way. We are, as I said, we are trying to fix something, right? To have this kind of mimic behavior and check if it works as we expect, but it's using the actual thing under the hood though, right? Okay. So let's have this fact right here coming in. And then what we want to do is that we first of all have the test cases name prepared, right? And you might, yeah, so this is good. We can pick this. The good pilot suggestions are get product, right? Should return the product when the product exists, right? So when we have the product, we basically want to get it. And you already know from the previous videos that whenever you are doing testing, we have something we call arrange. Arrange is where we prepare a lot of stuff that we want to do, and then we have what we call art. And then in here we have what we call asset. So these are the two things that you need to keep in mind, or you need to have in mind, that whenever we are talking about the arrange, that is where we prepare things, right? We are ready to prepare things. So if we have some services that we're going to use, that is where we put everything. And then with the art, it's where we do the actual call itself. That is where we put the actual call, where we call the method, or we perform a certain action. And then the asset is where we asset, or we check to see that what we are expecting is being matched. So that is where we are using the fluent assertion, right? So there is assertion that you use to check that whatever you performed is matching what you are expecting. So at the end of the day in your test, you come to the asset. To that is where you have to make sure that everything that you have done so far match what you're expecting, right? So that is one thing that you would love to do, right? So we're gonna say that var, we can say the expected product, and then we already know that when we call this, we are creating a new product, right? So this is the private method that is sitting in here. When we call it, it's creating some kind of a new product for us, right? So we create this product, and what we want to do is that at this point we want to use FakeItEasy, and then we want to use FakeItEasy, and then have this in mind that this is the basic way of we doing FakeItEasy, right? And as you progress, there is a lot of things that you can do, right? So you can read more about FakeItEasy, right? And you see that there is a lot you do. So we always call this a call to whenever I want to perform a certain action. So the method that I want to perform action, this is how we do it. I do it, right? So that is basically what we will be doing. So if we create an instance of it, right, which is we're already done with this one. So with this iShop, this is iShop. Our case is iProduct, and then we call this. If you want, we can call instance of this, but we're already creating the product, so we already have this set up for us. And then we call. So this is in the shop, which is in this case going to be our product service. This is what we are expecting to call, and then we want to get a return. So you in the FakeItEasy, you probably specify the return what you want, right? And then it will perform the action and give you and trying to check what you want, match your method and everything, right? So what we want to do at this point is that we want to go to the ads, and then the range, we are still in that range, right? And then we're going to say that, hey, call to. So you can see that when we do that, we have correction of fake, we have DOM, everything. So it means that we can do a lot of stuff in here, right? But in this case, we want to use call to instead, right? Okay, and then we get this is what we want, right? We create a product, expected product right here, we pass in there. So when we call the asset, this is what we're going to perform, right? Okay, so in here what we want to do is that we want to do var results. Yes, this is var results. We are performing the action. So here we are using our fake service that we created in here, and then we then call this and we pass in this to it because we have already created a product, right? So this is what is creating the product. So when we call this, it's a private method here that create the product for us. And now we are using a fluent assertion, so we're going to do the assertion right here. And then we say that results, because now this is a result, right? If you want to check, we have assigned this variable in here, so results. So we're going to say that results here, and then we're going to use should not be known, right? Yeah, this is a fluent assertion. So we estimate that when we create a product here and we want to get a product by ID, it should not be known, right? We need to have something coming out for return, and then we're going to have results here, and then we should be equivalent to the group palette is closer, but that is not what we want exactly, right? So should here equivalent to the expected. Yeah, this is what we want, right? So what we get here from the results, right, should be expected to the product, right? Because we are not using DTO, so it's the same product model that we are using as a return type and everything, right? Okay, so let's fire this guy up. So when we fire this guy up, let's see if everything passes, right? Okay, so now our first test is passing. Good. So as I said, in your testing journey, you're always going to test for positive and negative. So if the test pass, if the product exists, we get a product. What if the product does not exist? We're going to get the exception, right? So now I have another test case name that I've come up with, which is that when the results does not exist, we probably want to show some kind of maybe not found or something like that, right? So we're going to say public async right here, and then we say test and then I'm going to put this test name right here. So this is basically a test name, test case. You can come up with your own test cases if you feel like, you know, that is what you want, right? And then now in this time around, the ID we are going to pass in it's going to be non-existent, right? So we are not basically going to create a product here. We're going to just have a random GUI ID, and we're going to pass into the get by ID method, right? And that is going to throw in an error because we have not basically create a product with that ID yet. So I'm going to say var So we have var non-existent ID. Anyway, we are just creating a random GUI ID, and then we are going to use the FakeItEasy here, and then this is it. Yeah, this is correct. We say that here go, and then when we pass in this, the method here will throw an error of not found, right? Basically, so it throw an error of not found. So this is basically going to be the arrange, where we arrange stuff, and then we go in here, and then we're going to say that here we're going to say at. So at, we can say var here, and we're going to say that at is equal to yes. So this is what we add, and then we call the method itself, and we pass in the non-existent ID to it. And now we're going to do await, and say yes. So this is good, this is right. All right, this is right. So this is what we want. So the error should match this, right? We throw this exception. So here the error should be like the exception that is thrown in the key not found exception. And even when you go to our product here, go to the product service, we are saying that if the product is not found, this is the key not exception. That's what we throw. So in your application, you might have exception that is going to throw, right? And you can basically use it in there, and that will work as well. So let's go and fire this guy up. Now you see that we have one test that is not run, which is this one. Let's run it, and it passed. But what if I change this test? I change this exception, right? Let's run the test again. This failed because now you see it's failing. The exception that we expected, that wasn't that exception that was thrown, right? So it was expecting product not found, but this is the exception that was thrown, right? Yeah, so that is basically it. So make sure you always have idea of what exception is going to thrown right here. Okay, so now when we fix it, we run it again. We are expecting it to go. So basically, we are doing the basic concept of mocking, right? Using the FakeItEasy to mock stuff. Okay. So we will also want to go and get all products, right? This is just ID 1. So I have another test name where we're going to test the actual method right here, which is the get all products, right? So this time around we are going for this one. So we can just come in down here, and I'm going to say right here, and I'm going to say public is saying test, and then I want to pass in this is I have the test name in here, get all products. So now, as we did for this one, when the product exists, we return it. So when we want to get all products, so we just want to return all the products, right? And this is going to be like this. Yeah, this is good, this is correct. So we create a lot of projects, and then we create a lot of products, and then we make sure that we return all of them. So you always use the FakeItEasy to just to create a product and trying to pass into the service itself, right? As if we are storing into the database, but this does not have any database state, so we are just faking it, right? At the point when we get to the integration test where we use Docker to spin up our own database and everything, but this will get us started once we understand mocking, and that is the rest and most of the concept we're going to use as we move on to the other series and everything. So that is the concept, right? We can also say that get return all products. So when we create a product, this return we get product, return product when the product exists, right? So we can go ahead and create maybe more product and everything. But that is the concept. So this is how we do the mocking, right? That is the concept of mocking. This is the basic concept of mocking, and this is getting us started, right? Also, as we progress, we're gonna do more mocking stuff with other series coming up, right? So this is just a series 5 where we introduce you to mocking, but we got an idea of where we're trying to mimic a certain concept, right? So you can take upon yourself and then trying to, if you are watching this video, try to come up with the same concept that we have been using, come up with the other method. I'm going to make the code available with all the tests, though, but come up with your own then, and then trying to see if you can continue to write. If you're stuck, the code is going to be available. You can go and make reference, and as we progress, you get more deep concept about what testing, how do we do mocking, and then from unit testing to integration testing, and then you by the end of the series going to be an expert in when testing with ASP.NET Core. So if you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell, so that anytime we drop a new video, you may receive a notification. And don't forget to also share this content with others. And if you have a question, drop your comment in the comment section. And then if you need any help, contact us, right? So thank you for watching CliffTech, and I'll see you in the next video. And then until then, bye.